Hey friends, welcome back to the cabin, and today we're going to be making a very special pound cake. If you're new to our channel, first of all, I want to say welcome. And here at Little Country Cabin, we teach traditional skills to help you on your self-reliant journey. And at the end of this video, I invite you to hit like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the great skills that we're going to be teaching. Now you might be wondering, what is going to make this pound cake so special? Well, one of the things that I love to do is to cook with sourdough. And when you have a sourdough starter and you keep feeding it, naturally you're going to have discards. And so we're always looking for ways to use those discards. And one great way that I have discovered to use mine is to add it to my favorite pound cake recipe. And that's what we're going to be doing today. So I'm going to change the camera just a little bit and get you down here where you can see everything. And we're going to make a very good pound cake. The recipe for this pound cake will be in the description box below, so you want to be sure to check that out. Now, the first thing that you want to do is to preheat your oven to 325 degrees. And then the next thing is you want to generously grease your cake pan. Now, I choose a bundt pan, and I love this stoneware bundt pan, and I grease all of my baking dishes with ghee. That is my preferred choice, and it is phenomenal. If you've never tried it, you've got to try it. So let me set this off to the side. Now, a quick tip, you want to be sure that all your ingredients are at room temperature, especially your butter. You want it to be soft, and your eggs. And now we have fresh eggs, so my eggs are most likely sitting out anyway, so that's not a problem. Another tip that works really well for me is to put my whisk attachment on my KitchenAid when I'm making cake batters. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead. This is very soft butter. This is Lily's butter, by the way. Okay, and you can see that it is very soft. Now that was 1 cup of butter. We're going to add our 1 cup of sugar. And we're going to turn this on and just whip it, beat it, until it's smooth and creamy. So now that may even take up to 5 minutes. From time to time, you want to stop and scrape the sides of the bowl down, just so that everything gets blended real evenly. Now that we've got our butter and our sugar creamed very well, the next thing we're going to start doing is adding our eggs. Now, pound cakes are known for a large amount of eggs, and we actually have 5 of our fresh eggs, and I suspect 1, maybe 2, are double yolk, so we'll see. That'll make an even richer pound cake. This is a pretty good size egg. You can see that. I suspect this one is a double yolk. And it is gorgeous. So we're going to add the eggs one at a time, blend them for just a bit. Until we get them all incorporated. Alright, so I'm going to do the rest of these eggs. I'll be right back with you. Okay, so we've got our eggs blended in very well, and I actually had 2 eggs that were double yolks, so that's going to make it even more special. Now, one thing you want to keep in mind with the pound cake is you want to blend well, but you don't want to over blend. So once those eggs are blended in, and I'll go ahead and show you that, you can see that they're blended well. You don't want to go too far past that. Okay, so one thing I'm going to do now, you can see there's a little bit up on the sides. I'm going to go ahead and work that back down in here. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add the sourdough discard. Now it can be an active sourdough, or it can be the discard right before you get ready to feed. It doesn't matter. It's going to do the same thing. It's going to give this pound cake that extra wow factor. Alright, so we'll go ahead and put this in, and we're going to blend this gently just a little bit, and then we're going to start adding our flour. Perfect. Okay, so we're going to just blend this just a little bit. Okay, now it's time to add our flour, but let's talk about the flour just a little bit for a second. Now, I sifted my flour before I measured. Now, it takes 2 cups of sifted, now this is King Arthur unbleached all-purpose flour, and I sifted a little bit more than 2 cups because I wanted to be sure to get 2 true cups of flour. So, you want to sift your flour first. That's going to make another difference in this pound cake being extra special. Alright, so we're going to start with about 1/4 cup at a time, and we're going to blend it just a little bit. We don't want to over blend. And I'm going to go ahead and add the salt with this one. This is a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And remember to refer to the recipe in the description box below. Now this is the last blending before we put it in our bun pan. So I'm going to let it go just a tad bit longer to make sure everything's incorporated well. Alright, we're going to let that sit for just a second and let that batter drain off of that hook. Okay, so we're going to get this in our bun pan and get it in the oven. Normally, you would set your timer between 1 hour and 1 hour and 15 minutes, but I suggest that you not go past 1 hour. I would check it a little bit before that, because it's been my experience whenever I add sourdough to something, it seems to bake just a little bit quicker. So maybe set it for 50 minutes, even 45 minutes, and check. But a pound cake does take a long time. So we're going to get this in the oven, and I'll be back with you in about 1 hour when it's ready. Well, here is our beautiful pound cake. Now, it did actually stay in the oven for right at 1 hour, and I did toothpick it to make sure that it was ready. The toothpick came out clean. So I'm going to let it sit for just a couple of more minutes. It's going to finish doing some cooking right here in this stoneware pan because it does hold the heat. So I'm going to let it sit for just a couple minutes just to kind of build that crust a little bit, and then we're going to put it on a wire rack. So we'll be right back. Okay, so I'm going to loosen the edges just a little bit Now normally I don't have any trouble whatsoever because of the ghee. They usually release right away. So you will want to turn it out onto a wire rack. Perfect. Oh, that is gorgeous. So I'm going to leave it on this wire rack so that it can cool completely, and that's going to help preserve that crust so there won't be any condensation or anything to make it soggy. So I'll be back in just a bit, and we're going to slice this and just see how beautiful it is. Let's see if it passed the taste test. So what I love about this pound cake is it has the perfect balance of a nice crust and a moist center. So it is just the best pound cake that I've made in a long time, especially since I started adding my secret ingredient, my sourdough discard. Whenever you have the chance to add sourdough discard to your baked goods, it really does improve the texture. It's just a good thing to do, and it's another use for your discard, so it's not going to waste. Well, I hope you get the opportunity to try this recipe out because I know that your family's going to love it. And if you'd like more recipes using sourdough discard, be sure to leave me a comment below. But you know that I want to leave you with these beautiful words. Don't ever forget that your Heavenly Father loves you. And I'll see you on the next video. God bless.